Hello, 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 hello. I think I might have surprised some people because that intro video is a little bit longer because I tweaked it. I tweaked it a little. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hillary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hillary, professional tarot reader and EFT practitioner of www.tarotbyhillary.com, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because, yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. And I'm realizing that I kept my cardigan on or my sweater on, and I wanted to take it off during the intro, and I forgot. So Katie is here. Hello, Katie. Welcome to the broadcast. And we're going to be talking tonight, if you didn't already see that intro, we're going to be talking tonight about tarot parties. What is involved in a tarot party? How is it different from a one-on-one session? Should you be doing them? Should you not be doing them? Is it okay that that's kind of not your vibe and you don't want to do them? And the answer, as always, the short answer to that is if you don't feel like doing them or you don't feel like your energy is really up to a tarot party or reading tarot at a tarot party, you don't have to read tarot at a party. Like, you don't have to be that kind of reader. However, I do know of several readers that, love to do tarot parties or love to do be the entertainment portion of the evening, even though, yes, we do take our job seriously. And yes, we do love tarot for the insights that it can give us. It also can be very entertaining, and depending on your state's or country's laws, you do have to be careful with that verbiage of for entertainment purposes only. And that is not to denigrate what we do or what I do as a tarot reader. That is simply legalese to keep myself safe and to keep you safe. So anyway, this episode is all about tarot parties. Yeah. Why are they different from seeing one-to-one clients? Do you need to? And no, you don't if you don't enjoy doing them. And we may also have a guest to speak more about party readings and why they love to do party readings. So if we do happen to have that guest on the broadcast, cool. If not, I feel very confident in speaking about tarot parties as well because I've done them, and I'm actually doing one tomorrow because it's spooky season, y'all, and it's my busy season. So very much looking forward to it. On the broadcast tonight, as well as there being a specific topic tonight, which is on tarot parties, we will be doing the astro-weather at the top of the episode, and also the weekend forecast at the end of the episode, and our new feature in the middle of the episode, the mid-episode reading, in which you can win a free reading with me right here live on the broadcast, but you have to be tuned in live in order to win it. So I will give you more information about that as we continue into the broadcast. And let me actually put up that crawler to let people know about that. Cindy is also here. Hello, Cindy. Welcome to the broadcast. So how is everybody doing? How are you all doing? Let me take this off because otherwise I'm going to be roasting. I tend to run hot when I do this live stream, even though it may or may not be roasting in my apartment right now. I mean, it is October, but there's a bite into the air. It's nice. It's nice October weather. It was a beautiful evening to take a stroll before the episode. And I'm wearing my fall dress and my fall colors, which I'm kind of wearing more as a tunic than an actual dress. I've got my leggings on underneath this. So very nice, very stylish, very fall season. I also have a pumpkin ale too that I'm sipping on, as well as my water as normal. You have to be hydrated, man. Is everyone ready for the astro weather? Because we can get right into it. Hold on. I need to apply my lip gloss. My lips are a little bit dry right now. Hold on. I'm so used to mirroring on like Zoom calls and stuff that now I don't even know how to do that if I don't have that selected. So, all right. Katie's saying, go for it. Also, do want to let you guys know this is something that one of my friends reached out to me and let me know about this because I used the Cosmic Butcher's Strange and Eternal tarot deck. I think it was a couple of months ago for the deck of the month. And I said, when I was using it, oh, I don't think there's a lot of copies left. So like I'm sorry, like this deck might be out of print before you go for it. I've just been informed that there are more decks available. It was a limited edition of 500 decks, and decks will not be produced in any capacity again. So this last lot, which was returned to the artist via a retailer, is probably the last of the lot that will ever pass through their hands. So I am going to provide the link to that in the chat to let people know about that. If you want a copy of the Cosmic Butcher's Strange and Eternal tarot deck, you may want to get one now because she's got more. I believe the artist identifies with the she pronoun. And I believe she has gotten some stock back from a retailer, so she is now able to, have more decks available, but this might be the last of the last. So if people have been contacting me and asking me, like, where can I get that deck? Where can I find that deck? Can I get it? This might be your last opportunity to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and display that on screen. I've also put the link into the chat if you want to go ahead and purchase that particular tarot deck. And I can't remember which month it was that I did that for the deck of the month, but I know it's very interesting, very unusual, but gave very powerful readings. I know Sophia, who's usually attending the broadcast and may also hop in later to be a guest to talk about tarot parties. I know that she had mentioned she had lucked out and found a copy of it in a store near where she was. So I know she has her copy of it, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about it. There are decks available, but it's going to be a limited amount. So if you want to get that deck, jump on it. It might not be available for that much longer. Zuri is also here. Hello to Zuri. Okay. Let me pull up the astrology from Therese Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest. And let that load. So thank you all for giving me the space to give you that PSA about the Strange and Eternal Tarot deck and that that's available. But small amount. So hop on it while the getting's good. Okay. Scrolling down. All right, is this it? Yes. Okay. So there's a bunch of stuff happening, I believe, on the 23rd. So is that this Monday or this weekend? No, this Sunday. So first, what I want to say about the astro-weather from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. It is a subscription that you can get into your email inbox on a weekly basis, and it's a year-long subscription, $99 for the year. Astrology in layman's terms, right into your inbox. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you don't already have it. And I'm going to go ahead and display that so that you can get a copy of your own if you would like. And I think I have to shut this to show this. So that's the AstroBiz Digest. The link will pop up in a second. And I highly, highly recommend it. And what I like to do for these weekly live streams is start off the episode with astrology from Teresa Reed's AstroBiz Digest. And I give you the astrology for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so that you can go into the weekend prepared, not scared. And I also like to highlight some of the main transits that are going on for that particular week, for that past week. So you kind of get a layman's term, the astro-weather, like what's kind of going on during the week. So let us start with the transits that are happening this week. And so I think all three transits that I'm going to tell you about are happening this Sunday. So it hasn't happened yet, but it will be happening on this Sunday. So a lot major astrological action. It all happens on the 23rd. So Sunday, the 23rd, starting with Saturn stationing direct. For the past few months, you've had an opportunity to examine your business structures. Now you can see where you need to shore things up or tear something down. Venus will be in Scorpio a few hours later, which means intimacy is in. Clients want a deeper connection, so one-on-one work or small gatherings may be in order. It's also possible that you're craving some alone time. If that is the case, look where you can trim back your public appearances on social media. You don't have to be on all the time, you know? Venus in Scorpio is also excellent for giving your financials a closer look. Go over the budget, ramp up your savings, and clean out any unnecessary expenses. Trim the fat and you'll create ease in your money flow. Venus will be here until November 16th. Lastly, the sun will also step into Scorpio, signaling 4 weeks of behind-the-scenes activity. Research, visit your financial planner, update your tax info, and clean up the website problems if you have any. This period is also excellent for exploring taboo topics or giving folks a tease for new offerings. The sun will leave Scorpio on November 22nd. So we are getting into Scorpio season, y'all. All right. Let me just make sure that I'm on the right thing. All right, are we ready for today, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday? Let me know in the chat by giving me a hell yeah. And I'm going to do something quick behind the scenes right now. Katie says, yes, please. Let the weekend begin. All right. So for Friday, we actually had a quiet day. Friday is quiet and one of the best days for playing catch up. If anything is on the back burner, take it out and finish the job. Check off that to-do list. So satisfying, and straighten up your office. Handle the details in your biz and you'll sail into the weekend feeling accomplished. So today, Friday, October 21st, is a power day for Virgo and a weekday for Pisces. And let me go ahead and plug in my laptop so that we don't run out of steam in the middle of the live stream. That would be terrible. All right, so that's Friday. Quiet day Friday. Saturday and Sunday. Now remember, Sunday's got the most action going on, and we've already discussed that. So Saturday starts off on an ugly note due to the moon stepping into the Mars-Uranus square. Best plan of action, lay low. The void moon at 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time keeps this vibe going, so perhaps it's wiser to do behind the scenes stuff or nothing at all. It may be hard to totally sit on your hands when the sun conjoins with Venus at 5:17 p.m., a beautiful aspect for creativity, self-expression, and PR. This is followed by a Mercury-Saturn trine at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, another outstanding angle for networking, PR, serious negotiations, and communicating with your crew. La Luna will flit into diplomacy-loving Libra at 9:24 p.m., making the evening lovely for meetings and greetings. But a short time later, the moon will oppose Jupiter at 10:17 p.m. to be exact. Your cue to bid farewell. It's too easy to overdo it or get wrapped up in unproductive conversations. Meh. Saturn is direct at 12:07 a.m. on Sunday. And so I've already given you all of that information. That's not all. Venus and the sun will both be in Scorpio this morning, which adds a mega dose of intensity and brings sexy back. Again, we've already gone over all that info. 3 big transits happening on Sunday. The only aspect occurs at 9:52 p.m. when the moon opposes Chiron. At that time, the wounded types want your attention, but you don't have time for that. Instead, you're in bed with a great documentary on the tube, or maybe some popcorn too. Sounds like a plan to me. So Saturday is a power day for Virgo and a weekday for Pisces, and Sunday is a power day for Libra and a weekday for Aries. Whew! That is a lot of intensity going on Sunday. And Sophia's here. Sophia is here too. Just got out of my lesson. Awesome. Well, we're just wrapping up the astrology, the AstroBiz Digest. And I've sent you the guest link directly, Sophia, if you do want to hop on and talk about parties tonight. Sophia said, "Thank God, power day for Virgo Saturday. I'm recording grad app tapes." Yep. And Katie is saying hello to Sophia, and Sophia is saying hello to Katie. So at this time of the episode, now that we've done the astrology for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and given you the big transits, the big stuff in the cosmos, which happen to all be happening on the Sunday, is there any particular day that you wanted me to give you a quick look-see in the AstroBiz Digest to let you know what was going on? Like perhaps Monday was a little bit weird and you want to know if there was an astrological reason why. Let me know in the chat. And yeah, Katie is saying going to rest on the quiet day. Me too, Katie. Because that's going to be my downtime. Because I do have that party that I'm doing on Saturday night. So Sunday, I'm probably going to be resting for the day. And enjoying the football game, which I think the Jets are playing at 4 on Sunday. So that's going to be my Sunday, resting and watching the Jets. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing the live stream, Melanie. I appreciate it. And hi from UK London. Hope you're all well. Yes, I'm doing well, Melanie. Hello. Welcome. You are dedicated. I know what time it is there in London. All right. So let me know in the chat if there is a particular day you want me to take a look at for the AstroBiz Digest. Otherwise, we will be moving into the main episode topic, which is talking about tarot parties and what is entailed in doing a tarot party and how is it different from a one-on-one reading. Then also, if you look at the crawler that's going across the screen, if you are here tuned in live, we are going to do the mid-episode reading in about, I would say, 15 minutes. So stay tuned for that. If you are looking for a freebie, that is the time to be following along with my instructions at that time. So you may not get it You may not win it, but we do have a very diplomatic system of using the picker wheel and selecting names. So, so Sophia is saying, getting my life together and then I can pop in to talk parties. Okay, well, good, Sophia. I'm happy to take it from here. So if there will be no further questions about, I don't know, was Monday weird for you? Was Tuesday weird for you? Let me know in the chat. And if not, we'll get started with tonight's topic. And if you're currently flooding the chat right now about readings, like, please don't. I am saying there is an opportunity for a reading tonight, and we will be doing that in about 15 minutes. So Adnama is saying Tuesday was weird. Okay, so Tuesday was weird. Let's look at Tuesday. So it might not have been anything to do with the astrology, but I'm looking quickly at what the astrology was like. The moon was in showy Leo, 12:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means you've got 2 terrific days for self-promotion. Hit up the media, grab the mic, host a webinar, live stream, and get your face out there. Above all, do not be shy. The public wants to see you. Venus trine Mars at 10:20 p.m. is super sweet for networking events or a romantic dinner. Either way, you win. So Tuesday was a power day for Leo and a weak day for Aquarius. So if you have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, that might have been the reason why Tuesday was not such a great day for you. And yeah, Sophia was saying, like, I know, like, what was it about Tuesday, Sophia? Because you were asking me about Tuesday as well. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes there might not be an astrological explanation as to why. And Adnama is saying, I'm Aries. I'm also Aries. So I don't know. I don't know why Tuesday happened to suck. There wasn't an astrological reason for it, in my mind, anyway. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Sophia's like, everything imploded. It was wild. Yeah. Don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so we are talking about party readings for this episode. Don't really have a lot of notes for this episode because, parties are parties. I know parties. I've done them many times, but actually it's funny that we're talking about party readings after I was mentioning the Astro Biz Digest, because the Astro Biz Digest, again, is from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. And a lot of people, I think more people know now that she is an astrologer as well, but because she's known as the Tarot Lady. And the reason she got that name is because I think it was when she was bartending, she would pull out her tarot cards, and she ended up going into that business and reading tarot full-time and professionally, because most of the people were coming to her bartending shifts to get readings from her. So, and one person referred to her as, oh, is the Tarot Lady here? And so it ended up sticking, and she ended up basing her business on that. So most people know her as the Tarot Lady, and she is an excellent, excellent tarot reader. But she is also an astrologer. So, but the reason why I'm mentioning this is she has told me that she used to do party readings, and now she doesn't do readings for the public anymore, because she has decided to focus her attention on writing. And so that is her way of educating people. And she also does Patreon as well. So, and of course the Astro Biz Digest. So again, I'll shout out the Astro Biz Digest again for you. But it's a way to work with her. And it's only $99 for the year. So it's a very affordable way to work with her, because she does not do readings for the public anymore. So anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because she used to do party readings, and she has some real horror stories from doing parties. Like, she was talking about like doing parties and giving readings for like gangsters or mobsters or thugs or criminals, cockroaches skittering on the walls, like that sort of thing. And like all of this is pretty public information and common knowledge. And she's written about it before, so I don't feel bad about saying it. But it wasn't just about that. It was also her energy. She was just like, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like I felt very drained after doing party readings or doing festival readings. And I realized that's just like not for me, like that's just not the energy that I want. And it like, I don't really like it. I don't really feed off of it. It just doesn't make me feel good. And so this is something that I think a lot of readers experience when they're first doing readings or first wanting to do readings professionally, getting paid for them, and they think they have to do everything. And they think they have to do parties. And I would say try it out, see if you like it, see if it works for you. But if you don't like it, you don't have to do parties. Now, me, I enjoy doing parties. I enjoy doing private parties. I enjoy doing corporate events. I enjoy that. And we are going to bring on Sophia, Benevolent Corvus, who is also loves to do parties. She loves to do weddings, all that. So we're going to talk about it. So I hear her in the background here. I hear you, Sophia. No one else can hear you until I bring you on. So yeah, like you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And in fact, if people pressure you to do that type of reading, then they're probably not the right client for you. So, and I always like, I've never understood that people that like come at you and just like force you to do a reading for them. It's just like, if you're forcing me to do a reading for you, then you're not going to like the reading that I do. And it's probably not going to be the best reading either. So, all right. Yes. So Liz is here and Liz says, I ain't gotta do a goddamn thing and call on your inner Sonova. I agree. Exactly. Don't start something, won't be nothing. Okay. So I'm gonna bring Sophia on and hopefully I can figure out the overlay. Oh, here's a question for Adnama, which I don't know if I'll be able to answer in this episode, but how do you not freak out to tell them when those who pass over make it awful to give messages? I usually try and limit those kind of readings for one-on-one sessions. Like, and I think we're going to probably end up talking about this in the episode as well. Like sometimes a party space is not the right place to be giving a deep reading that's going to make people cry and unleash their trauma and everything. There's like a time and a space for that, and that's more for a one-on-one session rather than a party. So I usually like to start a party reading by addressing the entire group if I can, especially if it's a private party, by saying like, here, I'm a reader, this is what I will do, this is what I won't do. Please don't be scared, you know. And Liz also has a pretty good suggestion here. You say you have a headache. Yes. That's a way to do it too. All right, let me bring on Sophia. All right, Sophia, you're coming on in 3, 2, 1. All right, Sophia is here.
Hello.
All right. And let me see if I can work this out because I created an overlay and we're going to try and be fancy with this. Okay. I made borders. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Because I did one here, one here. All right, let's try this one. See if I positioned this correctly.
Ooh.
Sort of.
We're
I don't
fancy.
know. I like it. I like it. Let me see if it. Yeah. Oh, well, that works too. I
dig
like it. Okay, cool. So hopefully everyone can hear and see Sophia. I think I got it right. So yep. Okay. So Katie is saying Waves wildly to Sophia, at Sophia, and also nice overlay. Now I'm just thinking about that line in Spaceballs. Nice dissolve. Okay. So Sophia and I were just talking about this this week about parties and about, energy and I feel like this is more going to be a conversation about parties, not necessarily your do's or don'ts, but like parties are weird.
Yes.
They're weird. And they do require a different skill set and a different way of managing your energy than like say a one-on-one. So yeah, I'm trying to monitor the chat at the same time. But like so Sophia, like talk a little bit about your experience with parties and like why, like do you enjoy them more so than one-on-one, or is it just different?
Parties are the most stressful fun you can have. And it's just, I love parties because it's so much energy, but it is also so much energy. So it's great because it's rapid fire. You see a lot of different people. I enjoy my private practice and I like getting to that higher level with people. But in a party, I get to meet a whole bunch of people and talk about a whole bunch of situations. There's always going to be some sort of parallels because if we think logically, this is a group of people, they all have some sort of connection. They either work together or they're all from this, like, they all friends or family. So I feel like there's always a lot of commonalities.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing you notice with parties, though, is time and place is really important. So your job isn't just being a reader, you also sort of act as the event planner in a sense, because you're making sure that guests don't spill information that other people at the party shouldn't know. It for whatever reason, people think that there's some impenetrable force field that comes down during
Like
a party reading.
the
Yeah,
cone of silence.
the cone of silence. And like you'll get someone waltz up to your table, their wife and 3 kids will be right behind them and they'll go, "So I've been thinking about cheating on my wife." And it's like, your whole family's right there, dude. Don't make
Wow.
It's like, don't make me culpable in this situation. I do not want to be an accessory to this. So you have to get very good at kind of, it's like the Oscars music that they play, like, your speech is too long, you are so boring, please stop, is like
Oh, like
that. And
play
it's like,
wrap it up.
and it's like, what if we talk about anything but that? And so I feel like it's almost fun in a way because it's like that little like element of challenge that comes in there. It's like, yes, I'm giving you a reading, but I'm also making sure that you don't tell any of your friends and family your deep dark secrets without really thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. And also Adnama has a very good point here, keeping it short, which is can be very hard when the like sometimes it really does feel like falling down the Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole for some of these readings. They get real deep real quick, and it's just like, "Ooh, okay, how do I get back out here and like keep it light while also honoring their energy and honoring their issues as well?" Wow. Yes, exactly. Liz is saying you are having fun and helping you cover your ass at the same time. It's got to be it's a delicate balance, isn't it? Oh, and Zuri says so happy to be connected with Sophia over on the talk. Yes, the tick of the talk or the talk of the tick. Absolutely. Yeah. Keeping it short. Yes. Yeah. And Liz is also pointing out someone that's kind of being spammy. So please don't acknowledge that person being spammy, like especially like I'm the reader here. I'm the captain. I'm the captain now. So Liz is saying, please check out this random person talking about random things. Like, yeah, please don't acknowledge that person and we'll report them for spamming and solicitation outside of this space because no es bueno, but I'm not giving them that energy, and I'm also not displaying that on screen. So it's a little like, oh, okay, tarot parties brought out this crazy energy onto the live stream too. Very interesting. So what are your favorite types of parties to do?
I love big events. I I will do smaller events. Those are also fun. I like a wedding where because I'm not the focus. I
Mm.
just also am there doing my thing. Um, the best wedding I did was to date, and this is not saying that the other weddings were not fun, but this one was a Smashing Pumpkins themed wedding that was a Wiccan ceremony put together by their high priestess, and all of the bridal party was in their coven. So there was like an energy of everyone knows what's going on. And so people would just kind of meander to my table, and like a lot of them read the cards themselves. And it was great because I was not the main point. It was like, oh yeah, everyone here reads tarot. This is not some new crazy strange thing. So they would just kind of meander over to my table. I would give them their reading, and then they would kind of meander back to the rest of the party. This way, I get to give the messages that need to happen. I get to experience a whole bunch of different people, but the pressure to be exciting and entertaining isn't solely on me because there's other things happening.
I love that. And I think that's part of the reason why I like to do, and I've only done really like maybe one or two corporate events where it's just like you're not the only entertainment. So the pressure is kind of like off of you in that way where it's just like, hey, if tarot is not your thing, then like someone can wander over here or do this or do the face painter or talk to this person, or maybe it's a couple of different people doing divination, but different types of divination. And it's not just you. And actually, like that brings me to another question. When you have a lot of people, are, do you feel intimidated if you're the only tarot reader? Will you say like, hey, if a lot of people are expecting readings, like, can you give me a sense of a head count? Or I would recommend hiring like not just me, maybe hire two more people to be able to, carry out that workload, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to read for everyone at like a 200-person event, for example.
That's definitely something that's discussed up front. I do have a contract for every event I do. There is a very ironclad, this is what's happening. I'm not getting sued. We're not doing that. So that happens, and it's in the agreement. So we kind of discuss what the goal is. Like, say if it's someone's having a private party at their house and I am the exciting thing, I really need a head count. I need to know what your expectation is. If you think you're getting half-hour readings, are you planning to pay me to be there all day? Like, these are the things that we discuss. Or do you want me to bring a buddy and we'll split this, or what's the plan? So that I'm much more strict with. When it comes to a wedding, I'll discuss with the couple what their plan is. With most of my weddings, the concept is I am an option amongst a bunch of other things. So there's like the photo booth, there's a bunch of other things happening. And if you get a reading, awesome. If you don't, that's also fine. So I kind of am a solo contractor there, and I'm just existing in my corner. And if you make it, great. If you don't, you don't. And there's no hard feelings either way. And there's a
Right.
stack of business cards on the table. So if you do want your private reading, you can book that through my website with my Calendly integration.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah. So Liz was just saying corporate events turn 47-year-olds into joyful teenagers, and then also with booze. So yeah, you do have to like, there's a lot of, little moving parts that are associated with an event. And then also we've talked about it in past Card Slingers episodes. I haven't discussed it on my personal podcast yet, but it's just like, when there's booze involved, like who will be touching your cards? Will it just be you touching your cards? Do not put your drink on my reading space or my satin tablecloth that I brought with me to put my cards on, which was probably a mistake on my part for even allowing myself to bring this piece of cloth that I value to an event, for example. Yeah.
No, that's definitely something for consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody touches my stuff.
So nobody touches your cards when you do
Nobody
a
touches my stuff.
tarot party. Nobody touches your stuff, your cards. Like you shuffle, you do all of that. Okay,
Yeah,
because I let them shuffle, but also I keep in mind which decks I bring with me, so that when they're touching. Oh, oh, are you asking me what I'm drinking? I'm drinking a pumpkin ale. Trust me, it's not as big as it looks.
Oh, mine, I have a Smirnoff orange seltzer.
we Since we're talking about tarot parties, we might as well. Hey, it's Friday night. We deserve a little treat.
I am an adult, though it may not seem like it.
I know people give it just like how old are you? And I'm just like, I'm 41, and they're just like, oh, okay. And it's just like, I'm a swamp witch. I don't have an age. Yeah. Anyway, so I know with tarot parties, they can be very fun energy. But do you have a particular like horror story for when you were first doing a tarot party that you may want to share as like a cautionary tale?
Um, Nothing too terrible has really transpired because before I did anything, I made sure I asked everyone I knew in the community in like the New York, because I'm in New York. So like the New York rules, like what is the rule of the scene? I'm a musician, so it's always goes based on what are the rules of the scene. So like what's appropriate pricing? How do you do your contracts? How do you do this? How should I do that? What do you do? And I made sure that I spent like a lot of time prepping for this wedding. And for my first wedding, I actually made myself like a series of note cards that I like memorized because I'm a huge nerd of like how to deal with all of these situations, and it was entirely fine. The one thing that happened is there's always one drunk person that just takes it to a level. I had, and I'm going to tell the short version of this story because it was just meandering. This is, dude is the first reading of the night. The
Oh
party
no.
has just started, and I walk in, and I'm already hearing guests talking about which uncle will be the drunkest at the event. And I'm like, I think I just met the winner. And so he waltzes up to the table, wife, 3 kids in the back of the room, and he goes and tells me about his that his flame of the same gender he is not out has just passed away, and they owned some sort of like crazy, like they owned like a business just for the sake of being able to get away together. And I'm like, well, whatever you thought was
Wow.
private is no longer private. So I'm like, just holding space because I can tell that this guy does not want a reading. He is just sad and trashed. And so like we're
Mm.
talking about it, and like just like giving space and just like going like, yeah, that's terrible. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And eventually he's just like, this was great. Slaps a 20 on the table and he disappears. And I was like,
I'm only laughing. I'm only laughing because it's just like that's a heartbreaking story. And if that's your very first reading of what was that your first wedding
it
too?
was my first wedding, first reading at the wedding. And I was just like, cool.
So what like little kernel did you glean from that? Because I feel like that was definitely a lesson in probably holding space. And sometimes you don't need to pull a card in order to do your job as a reader, right?
Yeah. And so what I learned from that was sometimes holding space at events is just what you need to do. And depending on the influx of people that are coming in, it depends. But so, like, if I have like a bunch of people that want readings, I will just immediately go, I am so sorry. We can way better unpack this in a private session. I want to make sure that you get the time you need to really work through this and process this. And I feel like I can't appropriately unpack this in the amount of time that we have. And I want to
Mm.
respect your situation and respect your emotional needs right now, is what I do now. But that first wedding, I was just like, I think I did okay.
Yeah. Katie's asking, hopefully that wedding got easier after that drunk uncle.
Oh no, after that, it was great. After that, everyone was super cool. But it was just like, okay.
And it's not, and I'm sure like you didn't have any of that on your index cards either. So
No,
it's like as much as you can prepare, you know, sometimes you are going to get something out of left field, and it's just like, all right.
no, I did not prepare for business ownership and compulsory heterosexuality. That did not compute in the list of potential issues, but now I know how to deal with someone creating a business because of compulsory heterosexuality. Like that very specific instance, got it. But
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I've learned is just it is okay to say, here is my card. We need more time. But I can
Yeah.
help you with something that's a little bit lighter.
Yeah, yeah, and remembering and like keeping that again, keeping that expectation in mind, where it's just like, this is a party, this is for this. This is like, this is not the time or the space to be able to do this, and I would like to help you, but let's focus on one thing here that's a little bit, like you said, a little bit lighter, a little bit more accessible or surface, and then you can kind of get a taste of what I do, and then if we want to go deeper, here's my card. And then also asking the venue or asking the host or hostess, is that okay? Is that okay that I give out my business cards? Is that okay? Like, I know you've paid me a base fee, but like, can I put out a tip jar? Would that be okay with you? And if the answer is no, then that's fine. We just need to be communicative and be transparent about it and set those expectations.
Yeah, exactly. All of that I discuss up front because you just want to make sure that you are on the same page, you know what's going on with the event. Like that's the big thing is communication. And that's everything I work out in the months before an event. Like that's also the reason why I seldom will accept an event the same week because I
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that I have that time to really make sure that I know what the expectation is and if I can deliver what they're expecting. Because that's the thing is
Right.
I feel like with tarot there's definitely a fantasy that comes into it and it's kind of like what do I do? What do you want to see? How can we make are these things initially together or how can we shift expectations so that we can get a little bit closer to fulfilling everything that you need for me for this event.
Mm-hmm. And I really like what you were saying before, where it's just like, hey, this is not the cone of silence automatically. But what I found in originally, I would just be in that same common space as everyone, depending on the venue, depending on, you know, the amount of space that they have. And I realized, like, if you have a small quiet corner to put me in, that's probably going to be better. Or if you have even a separate room, like if I'm doing a private party, one time they actually had me up the stairs in their office, which was a beautiful office, beautiful desk. They were just like, here, you can use this. And I pulled up two chairs and did it. I'm just like, this is perfect. And then people, like, as they were done, they would come upstairs, they would get their reading, they would go back downstairs and like go back into the flow of the crowd. And sometimes they would come up two at a time. And that was actually how I started one of my favorite parties, which was, I think it was a baby shower. And I'm just like, are you sure? Are you sure you want a tarot reader at the baby shower? I want to make sure I'm managing expectations and, you know, not doing any of those readings or doom, gloom, da, 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 like, you don't want that. Like, are you sure you want a tarot reader at a baby shower? Just asking. And then I was able to talk it through with the host. And it was her daughter, I think, that was pregnant. And the very first it was a surprise too. She hadn't told her daughter, and I'm like, "Are you sure this is going to be a nice surprise? Are you sure?" And she was like, "Oh yes, definitely. She loves all of this stuff." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And she pulled me out in front of everyone. She was like, "Here, I have a tarot reader for you," and I'm just like, help. And so I had to like kind of just say on the fly and just like, hello everybody, like, if you don't want a reading, you don't need to get a reading. It's okay, I understand some people are very into this, some people aren't. It's okay, you're not required to get a reading, but if you would like a reading, I'm going to be upstairs, come see me. And so the very first reading that I did, it was two besties that walked up the stairs together because one was like afraid, and but the other one was like, no, 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 do it, do it, I'm sure it's going to be fine. So like she brought someone for moral support, and it ended up being a good thing that she did, because the reading wasn't necessarily difficult, but it was just something that the person I was reading for was having trouble really hearing. And then the bestie was just like, yeah, no, keep going. Nope, you're right on. Keep going. And so it was like I had a little peanut gallery that was like on my side, and between the both of us, we could kind of get the friend to see, like, I don't remember what the reading was, like, oh no, he's no good, honey. He's no good. Like that kind of thing. But yeah, I can't remember what the reading was about, but it was probably about something like that. So
I
yeah,
love those.
so
Those are
it's
my
just the best.
favorite. We discussed that the other day. I was like, I love a messy reading. Like, of like, I listen, I feel like relationship readings can go so many different directions, but sometimes I just want to be in the trench like, bestie. Like sometimes it's just fun to be that person and fill that role. Cause like I'm not your best friend. I don't have to hang out with you afterwards. If you really are mad at me, that's okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's just sometimes it's just fun. You get to hear all the
exactly.
details, get to gossip a little bit. It's great.
So I feel like we might have gone a little off the rails for the point of this episode, but not really. So like, what do you think are the unique problems or issues that come with tarot parties versus a one-on-one session, besides the whole like surface level versus, and then like crowd management? Do you find that you have to like have like a list in place where you write people's names down, or does it happen organically that they float over to your table? Like, because you kind of want to prevent a line from forming if it's like a private party. It's just like, no, go enjoy the party, and like, come on over when I'm free. But sometimes like you don't get free. And you're just like, nope, sit down. Okay. Okay. So how do you manage that? Is there a way you manage it, or has it been very organic for you?
It's kind of just worked. It's with large events, there's always going to be a time where there's something more exciting than me happening. And so it depends on the group. Like if the DJ is going through all of the whichever spouse's favorite music from like a very niche band, then the people who like that are going to go do that, and then everyone who's like, I'm not feeling it, is going to kind of meander my way. So you kind of get different groups of people at different times. Like if you are really not into the cha-cha slide for the fifth time, you meander my way, and then we kind of get different crowds. Like at some points of the day, like I'll get like say like there's like the father-daughter dance or something going on, and if you're like a work friend who's like maybe like kind of just like dipped out of the room for that, you'll come over during that quiet period, and then it kind of cycles. I've tried lists. I find that lists make things harder because then I feel obligated to locate the person who's next on the list rather than just organically going about it. And then I feel like, well, do I put them at the bottom of the list, or do they just like go right behind? Like it's organic, and everyone kind of gets through it. And for smaller events where it's like maybe 5-6 people, it's small enough that I feel like it cycles.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've already kind of answered my other question for like the people that can't, like that they're, oh, all of a sudden like you're packing up your tarot bag and you're like out the door, and they're just like, oh, but I wanted a reading. Oh, but, and then it's just like, what do? You just hand them your business card and be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I was only booked until 8 p.m. or 10 p.m., but here's my card if you want to schedule a reading. So that's usually my move too. And I'll sometimes use humor to deflect and be like, honey, you do not want a reading from me right now. Like, I am tired. Yeah. So speaking of readings, I think it's time for us to do the mid-episode reading. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over the crawler and just open it up to the floor. So the way to be considered for a live reading is drop the word party into the chat. PARTY. Drop the word party into the chat to be considered for the mid-episode reading. Depending on what we do, we might pull 1 card for you. We might pull 3 cards for you. But you have to drop the word party into the chat to be considered for the mid-episode reading. And for some reason, I don't think I have my chat going. I think it stopped on me. Uh-oh. I might have to refresh. Yeah, I might have to refresh. So, Sophia, if I lose you, I'll bring you back in. Let's see. All right. So, had to drop out for a second there because I wanted to turn on. Okay, cool. Yeah, for some reason my chat room was not coming up and everything got very weird. So Katie, I need you to be our test moderator in there and just put the word test or party even if you want to be considered for a reading. And let me bring Sophia back on while we wait. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Okay, so good. Katie is seeing it, and we've got a test post going on here. I don't know why. It just completely, I don't know. Sometimes the works get gummed up. So please drop the word party into the chat to be considered for a live reading. We might pull one card. We might pull 2 cards or 3 cards. Sophia might pull a couple cards. I might pull a couple cards. See, I heard her shuffling, so she's ready to go. We're ready for your mid-episode reading needs.
I switched my public greenie.
Ooh, so that's the one that you picked up at Newt's, right? Nice.
Yeah. So now I have the greenie that does not leave my house and the greenie that can leave my house.
So Katie was saying, I was already typing in tests, such as our connection. Yeah, you got it. So, all right. Katie is in. She has used the magic word. So I'm going to pull up the picker wheel, make sure that Katie's put in there. And I think Katie is already on there from last time. So we got that. I'm also going to close out the AstroBiz Digest because we are not in that point of the episode anymore. And you know what? If we don't get any more people saying the word party, I don't know. I don't know, Katie. The party has gone quiet. Where have they all gone? I don't know. And I'm going to keep my thoughts about that to myself because that was a little too busy for me to keep up with some of the chat. So I don't know how these large Twitch streamers do it without having their own producer to begin with. And by the way, I have renewed my subscription to Be Live. So, and I think I've got the mega package with I think I can stream to the Zon of Emma, the Amazon. So I don't even know how that works out. I have no idea. So Katie, it might just be you getting this reading. Yeah, and by the way, if people are so compelled, if they want to put any money into the virtual tip jar, I'm completely open to that. PayPal.me/Tarot by Hillary NY. If you want to help to contribute to my Be Live streaming fund, that would be incredibly helpful because it does take money to do this every week. And where is my link? I'm going to drop that into the chat.
What deck are we feeling? I'm torn between Thoth, Triumphi, and that cute little Fournois deck that I showed you.
Well, wait. Which one is that? The new one? The new one from the artist of the Deviant Moon.
The Triumphi
Did you get that
is
one?
Yeah, I got it's not the illustrated Pips version, but it's the paradoxical. And then there's this adorable little pink guy.
Ooh, that one's really cute too. Well, I think because everyone has gone, I think that Katie automatically gets it. I mean, we can always
Yes.
do the picker wheel anyway, but I mean, I can spin it and you can see that it's just Katie 100%. So we're just going to give
I
it
feel
to
like that'd be
Katie.
funny.
And we can, okay, we can do it.
It's up to
There's
Katie.
nothing stopping.
Does Katie want the satisfaction of seeing the wheels spin? It's up to her.
Yeah, I'll show it. All right. makes it very, very small. Let's see. No. It's small. It's very small, but you can see it. It's 100% Katie's name. So let's go ahead and do it just for the sound effect alone. Hide and turn off that ad and spin. Well, you're getting it. You're getting the spin. And you're going to get selected anyway. So think about the question that you want to ask, Katie. Yeah, rocking out to the picker wheel. So Katie, you have won. Just put your question in the chat, and Katie, you can answer for Sophia what deck you're feeling. I'm gonna do stop sharing.
That's the good problem about newts, is you come home with too many decks to figure out and play with.
All right, let's see. Gotta put the thing back on. I do like this one. I also created this one. Let me see. See, that one's kind of like a little trippy.
Okay.
Hold on. There we go.
Let me show you, Katie. So we have Terra de Luz, which is this cute little Four Noir deck. This little guy. He's cute, but like kind of creepy cute. And then we have Thoth Greenie. Typical. Oh, Zuri's back. Typical Thoth.
Sorry, Zuri.
And then we have Trionfi de la Luna, which is Patrick Valenza's Marseille.
I don't know a lot about Marseille, but I'm looking at those Marseille decks and going like, intriguing.
They glow under black light. And of course, I just have the black light handy now.
Indeed. I don't know. I think you're telling on yourself, Sophia. I think you are kind of preferential to, but I mean it's Katie's reading. So Katie,
Yeah,
let us know what your question is.
All of them.
Let us know what your question is. And also I've got a bunch of decks here too. Gosh, what do I have here? I've got Radiant Rider-Waite Smith. I've got the Sorcery Underground. I've got Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh yeah. So Katie said, yeah, La Luna, yes, that black light made it a certainty. Okay, more black light is required. Sure, and then just put in your question and we'll pull cards for you.
I'll do the reading with the black light. I know, it's like a really good disco deck. I want to take it to the gay bars and just have a blast with all like the lighting.
That's a good idea. I think I'm gonna go with my new favorite, which is the Sorcery Underground. I can't help myself.
It's so good.
It is really good.
I haven't
and
tried
I'm probably
it with,
gonna what with that one with the Marseille
or the Deviant Moon, because I feel like I would just feel too ripped apart.
Oh, what? That's how you felt at. That's how I felt at Reader Studio. The oots, or the too many decks.
I think the too many decks.
Oh, so Katie, you want the Nightmare Before Christmas one? I think that might be what you're asking for. So you don't want the sorcery, you want the nightmare? Just say yes and give us your question, because I can grab that too. Okay. I literally have a stack of tarot decks next to me, and it's about to fall. It really,
Yeah.
it's close to being untenuous.
This is just what sharing.
Okay, so yes, please, for the nightmare. Okay.
The pile just grows and grows.
Well, we can't help ourselves, you know.
It's tax deductible.
It is. It is. If
It's
you're
a
doing your
business
taxes,
expense.
it is a business expense if you're doing your taxes correctly. Absolutely. And Katie is saying, I'm planning on buying Sorcery Underground. Okay. All right. So put your question in, and we will read.
And the Sorcery Underground guy is also so nice.
I get that impression, considering he's been interacting with me on the gram of Insta too. So, okay. So Katie says, question, career. Still wondering if I'm in the right role or should I be looking around for another role in the company, lasted out for about a year, then look onwards. Okay. That's an interesting one. So I'm shuffling, Sophia shuffling. You can go first.
Do you want to split it in half? One of us does if she's in the right spot, and someone does whether she should stay or go.
Yeah,
it feels like 2 parts.
Okay, so you do the first part, and I'll do the second part.
Okay. This feels like Wildly Tarot podcast now. They always split it in half.
That's why Zuri was saying too many decks was what she was referring to for Reader's Studio. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, well, I mean, you'll be able to talk about the role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the death card. So it seems like there needs to be some sort of change, or whether you like it or not, there's going to be some sort of change going on. Like, that's what I'm seeing. Like, either the company's going to change, or we all know what happens with companies where they suddenly decide that you need to do the work of 5 other people under your one title. So it seems like there needs to be some sort of change, because I feel like if you're asking the question, am I in the right position or should I leave? You're not exactly feeling it right now. So there needs to be some sort of change. There needs to be some sort of end to a cycle, whether that's you deciding to start advocating yourself and the end of the cycle of letting people push you in this position. So you're going to stay, but make sure that you're exerting your agency and your personal autonomy in this role, or it's the end of you in this position because you've decided that despite your efforts to advocate for yourself, it's just not working.
So did you pull just the death card?
Just the death card.
Okay. I want to add on to that because so I pulled 3 cards from the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck, and the very first card that I'm getting is the 8 of Needles. So that's the 8 of Swords. And I think it adds kind of onto what Sophia was saying with the death card, where it's just like you haven't felt the pinch yet. And so that's the reason why, I'm sure it's been difficult. I'm sure you've already been seeing the writing on the wall. Otherwise you wouldn't be asking the question. But I don't really think that you felt that sting or that pinch to really move you in a direction, whether it's a lateral move, whether it's a move that's still within the company, but you just haven't had that pinch. I keep on seeing pinch, and also the card is Sally like sewing herself together. So yeah, that's the Eight of Needles or the Eight of Swords, because I kind of love that imagery for that particular card. And I'm going to read all of the cards first and then go to the guidebook so that I'm not unduly influenced. But that Eight of Needles, you haven't felt the pinch yet. And then you have Ace of Needles, which is just that needle and the thread. So it's just like, it feels like there needs to be something new. There needs to be just some kind of, I don't know, acknowledgement of your intelligence. I feel like acknowledgement of like your communication skills or whatever it is that like you bring to the table. I feel like that pinch versus, and then finding that acknowledgement is going to lead you into the satisfaction, which comes from the Queen of Potions, which is the last card. So that's equated with the Queen of Cups. So it's just like, you've got to feel it. And I love that the Queen of Potions is like kind of this swamp monster. What was I saying before, that I'm like a swamp witch, you know? It's just like, it's a compliment. I am. But like the Queen of Cups to me signifies that it's just like that deep, like you need that satisfaction, that it's not just that one thing. You need to feel the pinch, otherwise it hasn't really been to the front of your mind. And then you need to find that satisfaction. I know that you're saying like, if I want to stay with the company, but I'm not sure on the role, but if I need on the role, but if I need to move on, I will. I don't think it's necessarily the right time to move. And I can't really see too far into the future for like whether a year from now it's going to get better. But in like the immediate, like you don't have to do anything right now. But I do feel like with Sophia's death card and then the Eight of Needles coming up, it's just like you haven't felt the pinch yet. So I'm going to get the feedback first, and then I'm going to go to the companion book. So Katie says, okay, that makes sense. There's been a lot of change in the role. Advocacy rings in my head. Thanks, Sophia. Yes, acknowledgement feels lacking too. Yes, it's like my skills are not being recognized. And you know, like that's really the funny thing about it too, Katie, is that it's like, I feel like you were hired specifically for those skills, and now they don't see the skills to which you were hired. You were hired because of blank, and now it's like you're not even doing that. So it does feel a little bit of a bait and switch situation, which unfortunately is pretty common, or can be common. So does your deck have a guidebook, Sophia? Even though the death card seems like pretty, it seems pretty straightforward. It's like, you know, Major Arcana, death card, like, blam.
I have a handy dandy PDF for this guy.
Okay.
I have not broken down and purchased the big Deviant Moon book.
Give it time. So Eight of Needles upright, and also these are all upright. So I did shuffle in reversals, but these are all coming up upright. So even though it feels a very like passive, things are not in my control reading, all the cards are upright. So it's just like, so there is still some sense of control there. Again, that word of advocacy that Sophia used, it's just like you still have that ability to advocate for yourself. If they were all reversed, I would say like, sit tight, wait it out. Like you might not want to be able to be speaking up right now, but I think you still have that moment of advocacy on your side with them all being upright. So upright represents the feeling of restriction. Have hope, all's not lost. Even if you're feeling trapped or stifled and life seems to be unraveling at the seams, remember that you have the power to free yourself of what's holding you back and stitch yourself back together. So that's straight from the companion book. I really do like this companion book. It's a good one. I'm honestly pleasantly surprised that it's not more kitschy or surface. And then upright Ace of Needles represents a major eureka moment. So I think like Eight of Needles, Ace of Needles, that pinch, and then the eureka may come from that pinch. If you're feeling innovative and inspired, run with it. This is a time of mental breakthroughs and revolutionary clear insight. Make sure to jot down all of your brilliant ideas. So journaling, very important when you've got the Ace of Needles coming up or the Ace of Swords. And then Queen of Potions. For some reason, the court cards are up in the front of the suit in the guidebook instead of in the back. Queen of Potions is a calm, cool, and caring gal who's motivated by compassion. She moves with grace and control through troubled waters. Sometimes this card can be assigned to listen to your intuition. You're more perceptive and capable than you think. And I think that might be also what's going on here is like this attitude almost is questioning your own intuition or your own abilities, you know, and you don't want to take that to heart. And you know that's not the case. But at the same time, it has kind of shaken you a little bit or shaken your sense in your own abilities. And so try and go back to that, like the confidence that you may have had before you got the job. Try and go back to that confidence again and remember that you are compassionate and capable, and that you are capable of both being compassionate and kind and being capable. So
Patrick
Katie said
Valenza.
perfect companion book comments. Yes, I think so too. But go on.
Patrick Valenza has some cool stuff in here too. It's in his voice, so it's very creepy, but I think it works. So I'm gonna put our death friend up super close. So the big thing I'm seeing here is something good coming from a bad situation. It's not just loss and destruction. He describes standing on the devastated land, the Countess of Death plunges a sword through her rotted skull. That's cute. Mocking man in his earthly folly. Though today she is victorious, a defiant infant rips through her polluted womb and extends its finger to a small bird. That's a lot. So what I'm taking that as, love Patrick Valenza, that's a lot.
Take it down a notch.
I don't think you need to crawl out of the polluted womb of your job, but what we can take that as is that there is still something to be had from this situation, whether it's you learning about exercising some personal sovereignty, advocating for yourself. There's still something that could be salvaged here, but you need to make sure that you're making sure that your needs are met. Because, like, yes, living is expensive. Yes, working is a necessity. But we work for how much of our lives? We can make it livable and something that we don't dread. So advocacy is important. This is very much a worker's market right now as well. So make sure that you're getting compensation for your work. And I agree with Hillary. It seems like you were hired for a specific skill, and it's a marketable specific skill set. So make sure that you're being respected for your talents and the energy that you're putting into this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. So Katie says, okay, journaling will be worked on. Lots of questioning going on. Yes, confidence is feeling squashed. Thank you. Compassionate and kind is something that I like to have in my role, yet my boss wants hard Katie. I don't think being nasty is necessary. So, you know, work within the confines of what you can do. And, you know, when the boss isn't looking, you know, like give that encouraging wink. You know, like there are ways to still be your kind self and not allow the world or the job to harden you. So, yes, Katie says lots of nodding to what you are saying, Sophia. So, yeah, like, I mean, Katie's gotten about like 3 readings now in the mid-episode reading, but I think all of them have been really, really helpful. Like, not tooting my own horn, I'm more tooting Sophia's horn here. But you know, I think it was meant to be that like all of the people that were talking a lot, just gonna say it, they were chatting a lot, and I couldn't keep up, and some of it was not entirely on topic. So that's the reason why I wasn't really acknowledging it. So I think it was meant to be that it got a little bit quiet for the more interactive portion of the evening in order for Katie to get the message that she needs to get right now. Yeah. So I'll wait for that to pop up. Thank you both. I really appreciate it. You're very, very welcome, Katie. And it's always a pleasure to read for you and work with you. So, you know, and it's always a pleasure to see you here on the live streams. I really appreciate it. The loyalty has been absolutely fantastic for these, and I'm just like, I never expected that to happen 3 years ago. So it's like, it's nice. It's nice to be able to gather or facilitate a community just on a live stream. So yes, thank you for the honor of reading for you. It's an honor that I don't take lightly. I love it. And, you know, I think it's just meant to be sometimes the readings that we give. So, oh, thank you, Katie. I even advertised you both on my feed too. Thank you. That is so appreciated. And maybe they will come next week. Maybe. I hope so. So that was the mid-episode reading, another really good one. Very, very helpful. So we can dive back into still talking about tarot parties before we wrap up and go into the weekend forecast. But I think that tarot parties can be such a valuable tool of showing people what tarot is and is not. And even if it's a surface reading, you can see the power in that one message. And it might not feel or seem that much to us, or it might be just a specific word or a card that comes up. But when somebody walks away from your table and like gives you a $50 tip, like, so I didn't really want to talk about event readings. I wanted to talk more about tarot parties, more of like the smaller events. But like at the event that I did, like at the night market, I gave a reading. I can't even remember any of the reading now because, you know, it's a month later and the high priestess is not your fucking filing cabinet. But this person, I gave the reading and they ended up giving me like, the reading was this amount and they ended up giving me like a tip of the same amount. So clearly whatever I said to them was important and meaningful enough for them to like tip me the full amount of a tarot reading on top of what they had already paid me. So, Katie said, question, Ari, tarot parties. You were saying you wouldn't say very deep crying type reading, but what if it is a warning? I still probably would give the message. Like, it's not like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't give the message, but I would also say like, listen, I don't know why I'm getting this, but I'm getting like, just be really careful when you're driving tomorrow and like not trying, like, I understand what you're saying, Katie, where it's just like, keep it surface, keep it light, but also give the message. And it's just like, I'm not trying to frighten you or anything like that, but just like have a little bit of extra caution in this particular area. Cause like, I don't know why I'm seeing it. Or it's just like, it's not a good idea to go to that party. Or it's not a good idea to like keep on walking down that street. I don't know. Maybe crime is, you know, the crime rates are getting really bad in your neighborhood. And I'm just not getting a great feeling from it, because what I think when I get warnings is they don't have a negative or a positive association to them. They're very neutral. It's just like, hey, maybe don't do that. And it doesn't feel very like, I'm being stabbed. Like it's not that dramatic. It really isn't. Unless it's something that really, really needs to get my attention. And it's usually about me or somebody I know very personally that would never get a reading from me in a million years. And then I would just tell them. I would be like, hey, you know, I know I'm a weirdo. I know you don't believe in this stuff, but I feel compelled that I like, are you open to me saying this to you? And then I'll give the message. And if they say, no, get away from me with that shit, then I won't give the message, because it's about consent. So I don't know if I necessarily answered that well, but Sophia.
I mean, it's not that I won't. So it's definitely something that I'll filter. And I do small events. At a small event where I have private space and it's like 5-6 people, I will do it, because I feel like it's just a series of one-on-one readings privately. That just happens to be occurring at one venue. Where
or
at a wedding,
smaller. Yeah.
At a wedding, it really depends. And so like, I will do those kind of readings at weddings. I'm the person that brings the thoth to a bridal shower. It's one of those things that I am comfortable with that, but it's also just that you have to know who's around. If there's 15 people chilling around my table, I will steer the situation. But I had, at a wedding not too long ago, I had a daughter come over with her mother, who is an older woman, and they came over, and the mother wasn't super feeling it, but what had ended up happening was they were the only two people in the room, and it was during a lull, so I allowed it. And the woman who had who brought her mother over, her brother had gone missing. Oh, and man. they just were like, this is not us asking you for a definitive, but like, what energy do you see? Is he alive? And I did it, and it went positively, and I did it. And because they just wanted to know either way, and they weren't expecting a definitive answer, and I could tell that they just needed the space to just talk about what was going on, because for whatever reason I got the feeling that they weren't talking about it. And because it was desolate and I had time, I did it. But otherwise, I don't know if I would have done it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm trying really hard to think of a situation where I haven't. Because I really, I really can't count the number of times or even think of a time where I really got a warning like that during a tarot party. You know, like, it's just like, for some reason, it's just like guides or spirit or whatever. It's just like, they know what I'm there to do and what I'm not there to do. And so they won't go there. And if they go there, then that's kind of my permission to go there too. You know, if it's just like, if they're sending this to me, then it's just like, hey, it's okay. It's like, you can do this. And sometimes I'll ask permission. And it's just like, okay, well, how deep do you want to go? There was a medium that had a show on television, and it was Lisa Williams' Life Among the Dead, I think was the name of her show. And I actually did end up meeting her. We went for like a gallery reading. I think my sister got us tickets to go see her, and because I was like very into her at the time. I wish I knew where I put my shirt that said, "Do you want to know everything?" on it, because that was one of her like things that she would say at the start of a session, because like sometimes it's just like, no, I didn't want to know about that, and it's just like, but they're telling me this, so here you go. And we ended up doing the sitting there, and we didn't get picked. She didn't come over to us. And you know, I feel like my mom sometimes gives off that energy, like, well, I don't need grandma to come to us, because we already said everything that we needed to say. So she doesn't, like, I don't anticipate her coming, you know? And so, yeah, hold on. So my point in that is just like, do you want to know everything? You know, or kind of like, not just having that bargain with the people that you're reading for, the host or hostess, but having that negotiation or conversation with spirit before you go into a session or go into a party, where it's just like, hey guys, like, can you help me out here and just make the messages be as clear as possible, and also, you know, like, keep the boundaries kind of intact, so that I don't have to be uncomfortable in a reading that goes too deep too quickly. So Katie said, wow, yes, that's a serious question to be asked. Yeah. And she's saying, my warning was to a person I would never see again, and they needed to know not to make the same mistake in relationships again. But I got a serious push to tell them, but it did bring them to tears afterwards. So yeah, and I'm sure the tears were good tears. You know, I remember so strongly. I did readings for a bachelorette party, and it was, I think, the week after the Boston Marathon bombing, and they came down to the city and like stayed in a boutique hotel. And, you know, I was hired to do the reading, and I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are from Boston? Like, you guys are troop. Like, I would have canceled this entire weekend. Like, good for you. And I don't know what the circumstances were, but like, one of the girls that sat next to me on the couch, and I had the cards spread in front of us, I was just like, girl, like, you are a survivor. Like you were like just you sitting here on this couch is a miracle. And that's just what the cards want you to know right now. Immediately, bleh, like hard crying. And like she got taken away. It's just like, and then everyone was just like, no, it's okay. You did a good job. She needed to hear that. Like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We'll take care of her. And I'm just like, okay, like I'll take you, I'll take you for at your word, and okay, as long as you're saying that's a good thing, that's fine, you know. But there's some times where you just can't give that type of reading at a party, and sometimes you can, and so you kind of have to just feel your way and use your intuition. So Katie says, wow, talk to a wedding, bring on the breakups. I have a theory on weddings that either they make engagements happen or breakups. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Though I would probably be very mad if it was my wedding and someone got engaged at my wedding. That's kind of like a stealing the bride's thunder kind of energy. And also I didn't even consider having a tarot reader at my wedding. Like I feel like that would have been a lot of pressure for someone. You know, like even though I don't like, it's fine with me, but then again I was put through a baptism of fire with Teresa Reed, so there's not a lot that damages me at this point, or not a lot that would make me feel pressured to, you know, give a reading or not give a reading, or a personality that I would give a reading for. I don't know. Yes, after the wedding. People get engaged after the wedding because they are feeling all the love. Yeah, I'd say so.
I agree with Katie on this one. I feel like it pushes a conversation. It pushes the conversation one way or another.
Well, I'm just thinking about the John Mulaney bit, which now has not aged well since, yeah. But he talks, and it's such a good bit too. Like, separate the art from the artist, but he says something about, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free, which is a bananas insulting phrase. And then he goes into, the whole metaphor. He extrapolates that entire metaphor and just like, why buy the cow? Because you had to go to a sale of another cow and the farmer, and they met 6 months after you met your cow, and you have to deal with your cow sitting next to you going, it's just, yeah, I understand. It's just like, what they're getting, like, why, like, honey, do you cry at weddings?
People get angry. People get so angry. And it's exactly that. It's the they're engaged and they've known each other for exactly 2.5 months longer than we have. So therefore we should have been married last year. It's like that kind of.
And it is that kind of like knowing that your timeline is not the same as other people's timeline, even though it's really hard to explain, especially in the context of a tarot reading, where tarot sometimes doesn't like to talk about time in a very linear fashion. It's like when X and Y and Z happens, then this will happen. But until then, you're not going to get to Z until X and Y happens. You're just not.
Ooh.
So Katie says people break up at the wedding because they realize they're not getting that feeling with each other. And yes, Sophia, that's exactly what happens. People talk about their relationship. And the answer, why buy the pig? Well, you can get the sausage for free. Oh, I think I do like the cow milk analogy a little bit better, only because I'm kind of.
I feel like the pig is like a nice feminist subversion, though. But
yeah. Pig sausage. To cycle it
back to parties, how do you feel about doing couple readings at weddings for guests?
Well, I've never done a wedding. I've never read tarot at a wedding. I haven't had that experience yet. Most of the time, the parties that I do are private parties where like someone's having a birthday or the girls are getting together for a witchy weekend. And that actually I don't even structure as a party. There's 3 women that get together for a witchy weekend. Well, I call it a witchy weekend, but they just get together and they get hour-long readings back to back to back. So I don't structure that in the same way. And I'll usually bring them homework. And so they're occupied with their homework, sitting on the couch. I'm doing the reading for the person, and every so often their head will pop up and be like, I said that last week to you, you know, which is just the best. I love it. And just like, cool. And then Halloween parties too. I do a lot of Halloween parties. So never have done a wedding party yet. Gonna say yet. I'm open to it, but it's just never, like, people have not contacted me for. But I have done a couple. I just did a couples reading a couple of weekends ago, and it was in a public space, so it's just like I don't want to speak too loud and everything, but I'm just like what's off limits, what's not off, like, and I wasn't even expecting to do a couples reading, but they asked, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, I can do it, as long as like I am not your mediator. I am just your tarot reader. If a fight breaks out, like, I am walking away and we're putting the cards away, and yeah, which it didn't happen. And it was a really good reading, but it was just like, basically, but that person also reads cards too. So they knew the potential volatile situation they were asking for. And so they knew they also would have to deal with it if it became a volatile situation, which it didn't. It was actually quite a lovely reading. And I was just like, so you can't make him do anything that he doesn't want to do. And the advice that I would give you is to focus on yourself right now. And they're just like, how dare you say such accurate things? And I'm like, yeah. And I was just like, it's my problem too. I get it. It's just like, I want to fix. And anytime I do that and try and do that to the other person, it ends up being really bad. And I realize, oh no, I got to focus on my own stuff. So that was kind of like the theme of the reading. So that was the last couples reading I did, but I don't really do them. And, you know, you do have to tread really carefully, because like what happens if it's like one of them's really like, if someone came up to my table wanting to do a couples reading and one is really gung-ho and the other partner is just like, then I won't do it, because it's just like, no, both parties have to want to do this reading, and, you know, like, know that I'm not going to hold back. So like, you better be really good with your communication if you want a couples reading from a reader, well, a reputable reader, because they'll see it. They see it all. And if you can't see that for yourself, or have that self-awareness for yourself or the relationship, is probably not going to go well.
I have a phrase for it. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a phrase for it that I'll tell them, because it gives me anxiety every time. Because it's like, you're at an event, you came together, you are locked into this situation right now. So if they sit down, I go, is this for coercion or for personal change? And I said, we are at a wedding. I know exactly the thoughts that are happening right now. And I say it like in a joking way, but I'm like, is this for is this for coercion or for personal change?
I'm gonna have to borrow. I'm gonna have to borrow that.
I'm like, what is our mission? I said, because we can talk about. I said, because we were either doing this because both of you are on the same page, or we are talking about you two as individuals that are coming into this partnership. I said, there are 2 ways that we are doing this right now, and everyone usually laughs. And sometimes the girlfriend of the situation will be like, I had an agenda and you saw right through it, and I'd be like, I've been you, I know this. And so, and then we'll talk about each individual and then what they're bringing to the whole. Or if like they're really honest with each other, like, no, like, we genuinely want to like get like a read on the temperature of our situation, and I'll be like, all right, but you have consented to this. So
and has that gone? Like, has that gone badly, or have there been like people that have like, okay, and then turned around?
No, it always goes well, because and if I get And if I get like a pushback of like, what do you mean coercion? I will say exactly what I said. You are a couple that have gone to this event together. There was a journey that occurred to get the both of you locomoted to this place, and you have to locomote yourself back to your original location. I said, so I don't want to say anything or bring anything.
Keeping that in mind, that you two will have to either go home together or share a ride together to your respective homes. And that might be an hour away, 2 hours away. What are you going to be talking about on the ride home?
So that's what I say.
Yeah.
And I'm very real. And everyone's been pretty chill about it. And the people that are like, no, we're genuinely in for it, we can handle it. If they have that open dialogue where they feel like they can, usually they can.
I think it really comes down like I'm looking at the time. I'm just like, we could go on for literal hours, and I think that might be part of the appeal of the tarot parties, like kind of conversation, because it's just like you kind of are getting people at their messiest, or potentially at their messiest, depending on the party. So it's really more about setting expectations, I think, is the guiding star, whether you're doing one-on-one work, whether you're doing a tarot party or an event, is setting those expectations and continuing to set and maintain and express those expectations as the night goes on. And I think that's a great way of setting expectations. I'm gonna borrow that from you, Sophia, because I think that's brilliant. You know, like now that I'm thinking about it, there have been some couples that have sat down and tried to get a reading during the Halloween party that I do yearly, and I'm just like, like I don't even remember what I said to them. I have no idea what I said to them. But I do remember setting expectations beforehand and being like, I'm just the tarot reader. So like, this is a fun time. This is something fun to do. If it's not fun for you, if you're feeling uncomfortable right now and it's not fun for you right now, we're not going to do it. Okay. And then just like, no, I want to do it. I want to. And sometimes like, it's kind of weirdly, I feel like kind of stereotypical or a little bit like biased sometimes when I sit down and I think it's the man that's going to be the problem, and he's usually the more receptive than the woman in a heterosexual relationship. I'm just like, interesting. That's interesting. And really gung-ho too. And like sometimes the women have gone off in a huff and the men will stay behind and be like, wow, this is really interesting. And how long have you been doing this for? And it's just like, this is really fascinating. It's like, thank you so much. Like, wow, you were right on with that reading. And it's just like, now I got to go deal with her. And I'm just like, bye. But I try not to give those type of readings. But sometimes it's just like what you were saying. They expected it to go one way and it didn't go the way that they wanted to. Even though you're saying all of those things, you know, at a certain point you can only manage expectations, and then you just have to let the chips fall as they may.
Yeah. It's definitely something that informed consent is really important, because it can go south so fast.
And then then it gets into argumentativeness and like arguing with the reader, and it's just like, once we're there, like it's very hard to rescue the reading or rescue yourself either. So I've had some things. Like sometimes people have stepped in and been like, no, it's my turn now. And it's just like, okay, you know, it's just like, okay, we have to wrap up, you know, you're not going to hit it out of the ballpark every single time. So, all right. Well, it was lovely for you coming on to the show and talking about tarot parties. I'm going to ask the chat if people have any more questions about tarot parties that we can answer before I let Sophia go, and we'll move on to the weekend forecast. Give that about a minute. And yeah, oh my goodness. And again, where can people find you, Sophia, if they want to book a reading or a party?
benevolentcorvus.com. My Instagram is benevolent_Corvus. I am Benevolent Corvus in all of the places. I am the only one that goes by Happy Crow. So the one thing I will say for events, please shoot me an email. I like to make sure that we get to have like a one-on-one discussion about our goals. So this is why I don't have a spot on my website where you can just automatically book a party, because I want to make sure that we are a good fit. And if not, I have plenty of friends and acquaintances that would be happy to work with you.
Yeah, and I also agree with that. Like when I have something set up, but at the same time, I do put that on my website as well. Like I want to have a conversation with you, or at least an email exchange where I know what you're expecting, what the head count might be, whether or not you have tables or chairs, whether or not I need to bring something additional. If you have expectations of costumes, I'm not going to do costumes because that is insensitive to the Romani people. Like, no, we don't use that word anymore. Thank you. And I am not one, so I cannot dress as one. Thank you. There's a lot of different things to consider when considering booking a party. And if we mention that to you, if you are a client looking for a tarot reader, we are mentioning it to you to educate you and to hopefully facilitate the best experience that you can have for your party. So very good to keep that in mind. Once again, lovely to see you. And Katie says, great to see you, Sophia. And thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. Bye.
Bye.
All right. And now, I think I'm just going to cut that off here. Remove. So Katie is saying, thank you for the reading. And I'm going to take off the overlay because I didn't make a fancy overlay this time around for an individual. Because I kind of knew Sophia was going to come on here and talk about parties tonight. So it was wonderful to talk about parties, and I am going to do the weekend forecast. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the weekend forecast that is already pre-pulled because I pulled this for myself earlier today, and I think it fits, and I think the energy is something that we need to keep in mind going into this weekend. It's from the Starseed Oracle, which we've used before. So let me go ahead and put up mine and the weekend forecast. So Sophia says, woo! Zuri said, I found this advice beneficial for even one-on-one private readings. Fantastic, Zuri. I'm so glad that you got something out of it that is outside of the party readings or tarot parties conversation. And that's a little nugget called side coaching where you can take that advice and you can tweak it and it goes into one-on-one sessions too, where setting expectations, that might be the nugget that you got for your one-on-one private readings. It may not have been, but I think setting expectations can be very powerful for one-on-one readings as well as party readings, where sometimes people will book a reading with me and they're giving me their astrological sign and their birth date, and I'm just like, I'm a tarot I appreciate you giving me this information, but I'm a tarot reader, so I don't need that. But if I was an astrologer, I would need that information along with your birthplace and birth time. So setting expectations before you start working one-on-one with a person can be very beneficial because it's very hard to answer the expectations of a client when you don't know what those expectations are. And you might be going about your business as a tarot reader thinking that you're hitting all the marks on expectations, but the client might have something completely different in mind. That's something that you don't do. And then they might be disappointed and leave you possibly a bad review on something that you never claimed to do in the first place. So that's the downside of unexpressed expectations. You're never going to be able to meet those expectations because they're not expressed. So you need to be willing to have that transparent conversation about what are you expecting from a tarot reading, and giving those expectations as well, saying, this is what I can do in a tarot reading. This is what I can't do in a tarot reading. This is what I won't do in a tarot reading, or here are the questions that I won't answer in a tarot reading. Here are the questions that I will answer. And if you leave my tarot reading feeling unempowered or disappointed, then I didn't do a good job as a tarot reader. So I want you leaving my tarot table, either virtually or in person, empowered and better than I found you, or better than before the reading. So that can be a very powerful thing to know. Setting of expectations, being transparent about expectations. So let me get down from my high horse after saying that. Hopefully, oh, I might have put that card away, but I think I put the card away in such a place that I can grab it back again, because the Starseed Oracle is right here. So we've used the Starseed Oracle before. But so this is by Rebecca Campbell, with artwork by Danielle Noel. And Danielle Noel also is the artist of the Star Child Tarot and the Moon Child Tarot. And I think, yes, I think it was this. Yes, it was. Okay, cool. And actually, I had a new client this morning over Zoom, and I ended up explaining a little bit to the client about how I work and how I'll pull the tarot cards, and then I will use an oracle card at the end to kind of solidify and summarize the reading, and also kind of give them homework, possibly. What do they most need to know right now? And the card that I pulled was basically like the best summation of their tarot session, what the tarot cards were saying. And I'm just like, and she was just like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And I'm just like, yeah, I usually like to make the joke at this time where it's just like, oh, well, we could have cut this session short and gone right to the card, the oracle card at the end, but it wouldn't have meant as much had we not gone through the journey of talking this out and reading the cards and having that experience first. The oracle card wouldn't have meant anything had you not have this first. So I was working with the Starseed Oracle to pull a card at the end of that reading this morning, and I ended up pulling a card for myself because it was already out on my working desk. So this is the card that I pulled for myself this morning, and I want it to be the weekend forecast because I don't know, I felt compelled. So the card is I Remember, Soul Plan, the Fated Life versus the Destiny Life. So here's what it looks like. Okay. And let me pull up the interpretation. And I'll hold it up as I'm giving you the interpretation from the guidebook. Okay. So there was a moment before you were born when you chose the conditions of the life you're living right now, when you plotted out these exact moments along the timeline of your life. We live in a world of free will, and therefore these moments become our destiny only through saying yes. The fated life is the one we were born into. The destiny life is the one our soul chooses, and it takes courage and faith. If you pull this card, it's because you're likely now face to face with the choice to follow your destiny life over the fated life. To trust the path your soul is calling you toward, and to remember that this moment was prearranged on your life's timeline. You may find yourself at a crossroads, at a moment where you're being called to make a decision, to keep walking the perfectly laid out path before you or choose the one less traveled. You may be facing a change of career, a new relationship, a difficult decision, or something else that requires courage and faith. You're being invited to remember your soul's greater plan and to surrender to it. When you're confronted with a path that's undefined, it's normal for doubt to rear its head. In fact, this is a certain sign that you're facing your soul's greater plan. Every hero in his or her life journey comes eye to eye with doubt. The only way around it is through it. It's all part of the larger plan. So the inquiry that goes with this card is, what are you being called to do to surrender to your soul's plan? And again, this is from the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell with artwork by Danielle Noel. So this got me. This got me this morning. And if it's getting you to, then good, because I think it was meant to. It was meant to find you. All right, that's it for tonight's episode. And I want to see if I can load up an animated version of our end bumper card. So let me see if I can do that. I think that's it. Let me see if this works. It's kind of animated. Wait a minute. Is that it? It is. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So Katie said, it's a good card. Yes. And thank you again. And have a great weekend. Nice and restful, refreshing, etc. Yes, I think that's all what we need right now. We need a break. All right, let me turn off this crawler. All right, so thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to this week's episode. Once again, we do this every week, Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hold on, let me grab something as a preview for next week's episode, but I think you all know what next week's episode is because it's the last Friday in October. If you know it, if you can guess what it is, go ahead and put it in the chat, but I'm going to spoil it in about 2 seconds. Where is it? I can't find it. Uh-oh. Well, my copy of it is around somewhere, and I'm sure I'll be able to find it. I'm sure I'll be able to find it by next week. But yes, Katie is correct. The Blue-Nosed Witch. We're going to be doing spooky story time in the grand tradition of this live stream. I've been doing it, I think, every year since I've been doing live stream. I might have missed out on the first year, but I've been definitely doing it last year and the year before that. So yes, I will be reading The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. It's a book that I've had since I was a child. Literally, that copy is dog-eared as all get out. And yes, Katie's right. Two times so far. So we will be reading it again this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you will see a smudge of blue on my nose because I have the perfect eyeshadow that is just the right shade of blue to go along with the story. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can spoil it if you'd like to by going back to the last 2 spooky story times of Blue-Nosed Witch in the archives on the Tube of You and the Book of Face, or you can just wait until next Friday to find out what I'm talking about. But it's a really cute children's story, and we'll be doing that. I don't know if necessarily we'll be doing the astro-weather, the mid-episode weekend reading, or the weekend forecast because, I don't really want to stop the reading of the Blue-Nosed Witch to do the mid-episode reading. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. I'll have a think about it and get back to you on that. But anyway, we do these every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on different metaphysical topics. But next week's episode is The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry, Spooky Story Time. So once again, I am Hillary of tarotbyhillary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your intuition. Because yes, my friends, don't argue with me. You have intuition. Have a fabulous, fabulous night, and a restful weekend, and I will see you next week for spooky story time. Bye. Hopefully this works.